Used to going live. I just got the notification this morning, so sorry in advance that you're probably going to see me an awful lot because I'm going to play with it. It reminds me a lot of Periscope. I don't know if anybody remembers Periscope, but I used to really, really love that. But on Periscope, the host was live on video, and then people could text in. So it's kind of like this, really. And I don't have 1,000 subscribers, so I just kind of gave up on the TikTok game and just sort of like used it as my art project, and that's really how I've approached all of my social media. I don't really look at what's popular or what's driving, engagement or anything of that nature. I go strictly off of what gives me heart and what really fills me, and what do I want to create, and what content do I want. So I was really thinking. I've been thinking lately about how, for me personally, presence is my power, and what I mean by that is being fully present in the moment, being fully immersed in the experience. In other words, not thinking about things that I need to do or thinking about things that have happened. The only time life happens is in this present moment. And the more presence that you give the present moment, the more empowered, the more powerful you are, and the more you can really choose and decide how you are showing up and who you're showing up as. I mean, if you're only slightly or partially aware of your present moment, you're most likely being driven either by something from your past, perhaps something from your future, perhaps even the general atmosphere in the room itself. Often think back to the idea of harmonics and how if you have an entire room filled with guitars and none of them are being played, and you strum a string on one guitar, you'll find that the similar strings on all the other guitars begin to vibrate at the same rate, the same frequency, and the same harmony or melody. And what that really harks to is the idea that one is all and all is one, as in one thing is in the other, as in heaven it is on earth. And the idea of that is that we're the same. When you walk into a room with a certain harmony, a certain resonance, a certain frequency, a certain vibration, you affect the frequency and vibration and the harmony of everything and everyone else in that room. But you can only do that if you're totally and fully present. You can only be aware, of the frequency and the vibration and the harmony that you're giving out. If you can only be aware of it if you are present in that moment. If you're not like worried about something in the future, feeling shame or guilt for something in the past. Because let's just be honest, if you're thinking about something in the future, very rarely are you thinking, with like anticipation, maybe every now and then, but mostly you're thinking about something that you're worried about. And if you're thinking about something in the past, very rarely, but possibly you're thinking about something that was really joyful. You're probably thinking about something you wish you'd done differently, or that you wish somebody had done something differently, had not done some certain thing to you or to someone else. And what being fully present and being fully in your power does is it gives you back your power, because there is a certain name and really a certain circumstance that's happening right now that everybody else is talking about. And the reason I just am not going to reflect on it or talk about it is because you give it power. The more you reflect on it, the more you intend on it, the more you focus on it, the more you talk about it, the more power you give it, and the more of your power you give up. So it's not like you just have like boundless power and energy that you can like keep your own full 100% and give out full 100%. You only have a certain range or amount of energy. And every time you give something else intention or your energy, you have less for what is truly important to you. So if it's something that you want to keep going, that's great. Give it intention. Because what you're going to notice is about a lot of the things that are happening in this world, the main intention of it is to get your attention. I mean, I think that there's a certain there's a certain side, I'm not going to go into it, that would do whatever it took. I mean, if it would be like petting puppies, that's what they would do to get your attention. That's not what they're doing. But I'm just saying it's not even, they really don't even care what it is they do. What they want is your attention. What they want is your focus because that empowers them. It goes beyond the idea of wealth or money or prestige or any of these other things. It's the power. You can tell these people are power vampires. They are wanting to suck you dry of every bit of power you have. But guess who actually ultimately is in charge of your power? And that's you. And the way that you keep in charge of your power is by your presence, how present you are, and by what you decide to intend and focus on. Now, that can be really tough in the Western world because we are taught, we're taught to worry about what mom and dad think or what the teacher thinks or what our kids think. And so we're taught to be in this state of constantly checking out to make sure that we are doing the right thing by the tribe. And that even comes, somewhat from our ancestral past where you had to keep in league with your tribe or with your community or with your village. Because if you were driven out or if you became separated, you would be in dire circumstances. We're not so much in that state anymore where we're being chased by the saber-toothed tiger. We're just, that's not happening for us right now. So we have more ability to really decide who we are in the moment. And if you've ever noticed somebody that really, really is powerful to be around, someone who is a leader, someone who kind of takes charge, what you're going to notice is that they are always present. It's their presence that gives them that power. And if you've ever had somebody that you were talking to and you could tell that person was completely present, completely listening to you, listening to every word that you said, not necessarily agreeing, but really just present and, hearing what you were having to say, like really hearing what you have to say, you're going to notice that that's a really, really, I don't know if I would say fun conversation, but it's certainly a conversation that's much more intriguing. And you're going to find that you become much more present in that too. The gift of giving other people presence, when you're in community with them, when you're in fellowship with them, when you are with them, the power and the gift, like I'd say, of giving your presence to somebody else is such a beautiful, empowering, great gift, and it's why we tend to bond with certain people because we can tell because we have the same resonance, because that person is really, vibing on what we're saying, we're vibing on what they're saying. We are able and willing to give more of our presence and more of our attention and more of our focus to that person. So it's just one more way to prove, to show you that your attention, your focus, and your presence is completely your power. And you are in charge of that, but it can take some time to develop that skill, because like I say, we've been taught to really focus and give our presence to others, what's important to them so that I can be safe, so that I can get my needs met. And you can find out that really when you are fully present, when you can absolutely make sure that you are in power of your own needs. You're in power of what it is that you want and what you intend to. And the more of your presence, the more of your power, the more of your attention you give away, the more of your energy you give away, actually the more at risk that you are, because the less able you are to be aware and to make decisions and to really step into your intuition of, is this right for me? Is this wrong for me? Is this what's going to propel me to where I want to go? Is this going to help me to fill up my needs and my wants and whatever it is that I am really, wanting to bring into my present or future, or how I can perhaps even heal my past. Because it's also true that there are times when you do need to give your presence to past and future things, but you want to do it intentionally. You want to do it not because that is just the way your system, your mind, body, and spirit system is built, and just sort of do it out of habit, and then it just sort of like happens, willy nilly. but you want to be very intentional and focused about it. And it's a skill set and it's work. Like I say, that is the work. The work to me is in staying present. The work to me is in deciding what your intentions and focuses and attentions would be on. And the work is on developing your face muscle so that when you do decide that something is worth your focus, something is worth your attention, but it's not something that you really see in your present physical world, faith is that bridge that you use to get from, perhaps where you are to what it is that you want to do. And I hope this is coming through okay because I don't know. I don't know how my, let me try turning off. That's not going to work. All right, y'all. So I do apologize. It seems like my car is trying to do something funky as we're doing this right here. But anyway, so just be prepared because I'll probably be doing a lot of lives because I do miss that old Periscope. I don't know if anybody remembers that, like I was saying before. I really enjoyed doing that. Don't know what it is I will do. Who knows? This is my art project. So be prepared for whatever may happen. I'm not sure if I know how to actually turn this off, so excuse me while I turn this off. Until later, I'm going to say love, peace, and release. My goal is to bring peace to this world, and the reason is because my grandson is 1 year old. My beautiful little grandson, named after me, is 1 year old. I'm so blessed, and I want a world for him where he can do, be, and have whatever it is that he wants, whatever he intends to be. I want him to be able to have full ability to fully live his life. And in order for that to happen, this world needs to be peaceful. So that is my goal. That is my intention. And that is where my attention goes. I'm putting aside everything else, things that I regret, things that I think that others have done wrong, things that I think I have done wrong, things that I am worried about, things that I'm fearful of, perhaps my own anxiety. I'm putting all of that aside because I want a world where my grandson has the best ability to live a full life. So if you're in with me on that, perhaps you have somebody that's important to you, perhaps or you have somebody that you want to also have, fulfillment. Perhaps it's even just you or your pet, or your kids or your sister or brother or loved one, whoever it might be. Doesn't matter. Let's get to what is really, really super important. We can all get caught up in all kinds of loops of he said, she said, they did this, they did that, I think this, I think that, whatever. At the end of the day, my attention and focus is on a peaceful world so that my beautiful little grandson has an amazing life. And I'm going to do everything I can for it. So until later, love, peace, release. And I'm about to get started on a project. Talk to y'all soon.